All right, good morning and welcome on back, Cyber Traders. Here this Tuesday, not so Monday, but Tuesday, great to have Gillis, Margaret, Kathleen, all of our students and members alike inside our live trading room. Give me a quick sound check to begin. Make sure everyone can hear me loud and clear. Should be good to go across the board, but boy, do I have a story for you. Not only that, we have an exciting day lined up ahead. So for all of us on social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, the works, you as well, let me know if you could hear me loud and you could hear me clear, hopefully not too loud. But I'll tell you what, really exciting day, really exciting week here. And I got to get on my game if I'm trying to make it a part to this podcast coming up later on today. So Ron, Elena, Gillis, great to have all of us here. So let's just begin with this. My computer ended up frying on me actually yesterday. So just to make a long story short, I tried doing something good for myself, something nice for myself, ended up getting these like nice computer fans, make my computer a little less noisy. Well, I try and bring it into a computer guy, and the computer guy suddenly tells me, yeah, I can't turn this thing back on. I don't know what's going on. I think your motherboard might be fried. I'm working off a laptop right now, folks. I'm working off a laptop and a side monitor. In fact, I'm actually going to go to another computer store coming up right after the market opens up. You got Rich on the mic going into the morning. Now, if you're on social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, etc., enough talking about me, because for Tim, Joe, and all of us here otherwise, we have a huge event lined up for everyone here today. So coming up, I believe at 11 o'clock this morning, 11:30, I believe, Tom Sosnoff, obviously, you know, from Thinkorswim, but now Tasty Works, I should say. He's coming on at 11:30 Eastern time, pardon me, with Fausto. Two legends of the game, right? This is basically like Jordan and Pippen. It's basically like Magic and Bird. If you're doing a little music, maybe it's like Lennon and McCartney, perhaps, you know, the meeting of the minds. So it's a huge event. We don't have to have Tom on too often. It's a great chance and honor to have him on our platform here. So again, we just posted the link inside our YouTube stream right there. Just join us, hit the follow, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. If you're Tim, Joe, Brad, all of us joining us right now live, and we'll begin that at 11:30. Just make sure to hit the notification icon so you know when we're going live. Again, Fausto and Tom Sosnoff from Tasty Works. Now, if you're inside our live trading room, well, you got a full morning ahead at least. We got a nice market open still lined up ahead of us. This PRFX trade ended up making a good run pretty much right at 8:30. We'll go into this move at least here, but we had a phenomenal Friday, right? I mean, just think about Friday from last week. We ended up killing it to close it out, of course, with a holiday weekend with President's Day from yesterday. And coming off of it, normally you wouldn't expect to see too much out there. So to have this PRFX basically fall into our lap a little bit after the 8 o'clock move, more at 8:30, it was great to have. Now, with that, at least, we're going to put this on our watch list to begin. I just want to double check on Benzinga. Like, what's the news out on the stock? I know that Rich posted earlier, but it's easier for me to check here. All right, so PRFX, Pain Reform, shares trading higher after the company announced it will acquire Deep Solar. So they're acquiring a company and they're the ones that pop? That don't make sense. Normally, when a company buys another company out, obviously they're expending a lot of either cash or assets that they have on it. So normally when the company gets bought out, you'll see that company pop. When a company buys another one out itself, that company typically has a small little drop, nothing too big. So to see this thing pop 70 to 71% now, pretty rare. Now that with that in mind, be careful for a pullback at least here by the time the market opens up. I was saying before, when this was running up here, breaking out from like 350-ish onward, I was looking for at least new support to build, at least to have it contain itself over 370-ish, maybe 375 from here. And it just blew right through that. In the case of a pullback today, if this does drop back down, we might get support around that 375-ish. So I'm going to put this definitely on our watch list, at least to begin. Nice day trade, at least. I wouldn't really focus on this as a swing trade just yet, but simply as a day trade, we'll look to see if there's more room on it. Now, PRFX, that was one at least that we're going to start off on here. But like I'd said, Friday from the end of last week, we absolutely killed it. AUR, just to begin. This was even from like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday all together, right? This thing was a big pop. Thursday it was. So from $7 ended up popping from 7 up towards 9, then on Friday up towards 10.50. This has been, of course, a great day trade, as you could see, getting in and out within the same day. But as well as that, a great swing trade. My history with this stock goes back around September, October time. I was looking for a move up on this. I had it at first. I took a small loss and ended up just focusing elsewhere. This is a company that focuses on like freight trucks, and they're in the self-driving business, the autonomous driving, but they specialize around freight trucks. Uber has a stake in them, I believe, and I think that they're also working with NVIDIA now. I think one of our members told us that there too. Either way, keep this in mind going into this week. Keep it in mind. We're not going to put this on our main list just yet. It looks pretty flat so far for Tuesday to begin this week, but great trade to end last week. Don't forget about it. Has a great spread, has good orders out there, but we'll keep it on the B list to begin. All right. Now, alongside AUR from Friday, killed it on DraftKings coming off earnings from Thursday after the close. So stock ended up popping off good earnings, forward guidance, and with that, ended up just running Friday morning pretty well. Now, this is a very strong swing trade. We were talking about that from the Super Bowl, because at least, if anything, going into Super Bowl week, this was already building higher lows. And then obviously the earnings pop led to a higher high here, broke above like 2024 high here, and running back up pretty nicely. So, again, another nice stock you can put on your side list. It's actually up higher this morning, so maybe I can kind of put it on the main special list. I want to go down the percent gainers and losers list at least first. We'll come back to this if we need to at the end. Rivian, RIVN, smaller move, more at 9 o'clock in the morning, had a big pop, I think, in relation to their deliveries. But otherwise, I think they have earnings out this week, right? Earnings out Thursday after the close this week. Let me try and drag this up here. If you're on social media right now, at least you'll have the chance to see this. We posted this as an alert inside our live trading room. Also, join us on Telegram. We sent out an alert there too. But otherwise, Rivian, earnings after the close this week on Thursday. On Thursday here. We're kind of at the tail end of earnings season. So, most of the Mag 7s already reported. NVIDIA is always cast out there on their own island. But as far as Rivian goes today, we'll keep it on the side list there, the B list, and we'll check back in with it if it has good strength. But definitely by Thursday afternoon, definitely by Friday morning, we'll likely be trading it. All right, what else we got from Friday? We can keep the good times rolling here, right? I mean, another great swing trade. It's getting tougher as a day trade because it's getting more expensive, but also the order book is thinning out quite a bit here. The HIMS trade. My keyboard's messing up now. So HIMS, you could see just back from Thursday into Friday, big pop to break new all-time highs, broke over 50, completely smashed over that, half a century number level. And, maybe that could be your next support. For as much as this moved up, you'd figure it's going to be exhausted, right? For as much as this ran up back from September to now, you'd figure it's got to have like some sort of top, some sort of, pullback area. Let's see if I can get this right now. My keyboard's all jumbled up right now. Yeah, look at PLTR. For as much as this ran up from September, October, right? Well, it could still be a good swing trade, but it makes it tougher as a day trade, especially when it doesn't have as good liquidity out there on the order book now, like the HIMS trade kind of does. The HIMS trade doesn't really have great orders out there now. Big spread, thinner volume. But again, that's where we say it's like still a good swing trade, maybe not as much now a day trade. We'll come back to this if we need to, like we had said. Last one here, at least, RXRX. Now, this was also a beast from Friday. Great pop in pre-market, then ended up breaking higher more in like the mid-afternoon, mid to late afternoon for a Friday afternoon on a holiday weekend. I wouldn't be expecting jack throughout the market there. Really nothing. Twiddling my thumbs. But this ended up making a great pop off of $10. I mean, very takeable money for about 60, 70 cents. And then even higher into this morning. So, you know what? It's up 8% this morning. Definitely a lot more activity on this trade here compared to some of those others. Not as strong of a trend, right? As far as an intraday trend goes here, it's been very flat for the last hour and a half. But as far as the overall move, I really like this trade. So I'm going to put this on our list here as well to go alongside the PRFX. Don't get the two mixed up. PRFX and then RXRX. All right, let's go from top to bottom right now, at least here. One of my swing trades is killing it this morning. We'll jump to it in just a minute. There's PRFX there already on our list. We just talked about that to begin if you're just joining us right now. Also, if you're just joining us right now, second reminder on this at 11:30 Eastern this morning, two meetings. It's a meeting of the minds, two legends of the game, Fausto Pugliese, Tom Sosnoff, coming up at 11:30. So Tom Sosnoff, of course, from Tasty Works, he's going to be joining us on our platform for our Cyber Traders podcast. So if you're on YouTube, on Facebook Live, just make sure to stay tuned for that. Hit the follow, hit the subscribe button right there. SLDB, more of a early morning pop after 8 o'clock. This thing just died off, right? Technically hasn't broken lower. So it's like you're saying there's still a chance, right? technically, if it hasn't broken lower, I reckon there's a chance for a higher high. So I'll put this on our list for now. Just be careful though, because this stock also is like a famous pop and drop stock over my years here with Fausto. So man, my keyboard's really messed up now. Now it's my laptop keyboard, got my desktop fried. Yeah, look at this SLDB trade from beginning of 2024. Great swing trade, I guess you could say there too, but over time has come back down. And even before that, just to say, let's see if I can get this here. Yeah, this thing got crushed back from 2019. Took a long time here to even make this move now, and it still looks pretty crappy long-term wise. Just lower highs, lower lows mostly throughout. I guess you could say here's the beginning maybe of a higher low. But yeah, I mean, we'll put this on our list for the time being. All right, what else we got? What else we got here? We'll just zip through pretty quick, at least here. EFOI, more flat. Again, if you want me to put this on our list, I can, but that's where I'm going to build up like a 20 stock watch list here. So WRD, this had popped this morning. Also had popped, Friday morning as well. Early morning, though, like pre-market prior to the 8 o'clock move. So this wasn't really like one of our better trades from Friday, quite frankly. But started to pop going into 8 o'clock this morning. Just be careful, though. Again, lower highs doesn't guarantee it's going to make another pop here today. It definitely has really thin volume out there, more of a category 5 stock. You can't even see anyone out there on the order book, at least looking at it from my screen. All right, so more on the side of slow and steady at least, but this sober trade, SOBR, ended up making a nice little pop from Friday, nice little bounce, and then higher this morning, I guess. But I'll come back to it if I need to. Not a lot of like good trends here so far. A couple on the RX stocks. This one also CMRX. The hell's going on here? Is it just like all the therapeutic pharma stocks getting a rub here today? Nice little push up 15%. So, good trend. The only issue on this is that it's a little spotty, kind of points of inactivity here recently. And heading into the market open, you don't really want to see that as much. So don't get me wrong. The overall trend actually is pretty good. In the sake of kind of focusing on more of the RX stocks, at least here, I'll put this one on for right now, CMRX. All right, keep it going. SMCX. This is not one of those. This is actually the super microcomputer ETF, right? SMCI, also one from Friday. I forgot to mention this one, actually. One of the better moves from the morning session, at least. SMCI broke out from 43, ran up about 5-6 points. Now even higher today. So actually, this move up higher is a little bit more surprising to me. I did think, at least with their earnings, they would have a good slingshot. We nailed it, actually, off the earnings move from last week. But to see it run up easily higher up towards 51, wasn't really expecting that as much. So it's even above a little resistance that we had back from 2024, roughly around that 50 price. All right, cool. We'll put it on our list. It goes on our list for now, at least the regular stock. The ETFs, it's weird. Like you really shouldn't be trading the ETFs unless if it's just much less expensive. If it's like a cheaper alternative, okay, that actually makes sense. But when it's double the price, there's no benefit to it. AIFF is actually making a nice move back up again. Looks good from here, right? Like looks good. It's up 15% this morning, starting to run back up. Yeah, remember where this was just like a couple days back, right? So it has a long ways to go to get back up towards 15, and that does not mean it's going to do that. So, after a stock goes from 3 up to 16, 17 bucks, no surprise it's going to pull back, sell off, tank. This move right now is peanuts compared to what we caught last week. Doesn't mean it's going to make another move like it did last week. I think this is more of like a lower high and then just a drop back down. I'm going to avoid this to begin. If it really starts to have good legs after the open, we'll call it out. But for right now, I want to focus on those RX stocks a little bit more first. Grab. We're going to put this on our watch list easily. Great day trade, I guess you could say today. Not as often every day because it's really slow. This is definitely a very slow stock, more of category 1. But this is just where, from last week or even like the week before, I was talking to Kerry about this. I guess technically my first shout on this was 2 weeks ago on the 4th. But I was going over this with our students in our room. There's really good potential for Grab as a swing trade. I've been in this from 477. Things are doing good so far on it. A lot of our students are killing it on this trade. And it's just more so to say higher lows, as long as it held over this 4 level, at least over time, which it of course did here, bouncing back up now. I think that there's good potential overall. They are reporting earnings this week. It would not shock me if they have a drop off of earnings, whether it's overhyped at this point or whether it's just not in line. Maybe it is weak earnings, but this was more off the charts. It's not going to shock me if they don't report good earnings for this quarter, but it's a long-term move. So as long as the chart is still intact, the swing trade's still intact. As the day trade goes today, this is coming off of just the hype behind the stock on social media. A lot of people talking about this, a lot of people I follow on social media talking about this stock. So I tailed them, our students tailing me. And now at this point, we're going to put this on our list as both a swing trade and a day trade here. Just overall, though, it's more of a swing trade because it's a lot slower, normally a lot slower. So you're not going to get as much bang for the buck on this stock unless it's like $10, $11. Reminds me of AMD back in the day when AMD was like a $5, $4 stock. If anyone was around back then, crazy that this was a $4 or $5 stock. But yeah, if you could imagine that. Now, just going back to Grab, this was a very slow trade. Reminds me of AMD from back then. Oscar up this morning. This also has been a good swing trade, and I guess affiliated perhaps with the RX Pharma stocks there. So maybe I will add Oscar. ABSI chart here actually looks pretty damn good. I like the support build here. Volume doesn't look so great, at least here in pre-market, but my hope is to see it fill in after the open. I think we traded the stock too kind of recently. And I think I remember saying, like, I'm going to put this on my side list going forward. And it was kind of interesting. Yeah, look at this daily chart here. This is a very strong daily chart, at least back from the last year and a half. So my keyboard is all sorts of messed up right now. Yeah, you know what? Actually, this is a very similar chart to Grab, GRAB, except that this hasn't broken that higher high just yet. It looks like it's on the verge of doing that at least. So you know what? ABSI, I'll throw on our watch list here too. RXRX already on our watch list. All right, and now we're kind of near 5%, so we're going to hop over to the loser side. Hey, just for all of our members on YouTube, again, just another quick shout. Coming up at 11:30 Eastern Time, just a huge podcast lined up. Fausto and Tom Sosnov from Tastyworks. It's going to be a huge podcast, huge event lined up this morning. Make sure that you follow and subscribe right to our YouTube channel so you are in the know. Give me a quick sec here. There we go. I knew something was broken there. All right. SEPN. Oh my God. What the hell happened to this thing? This thing ended up having a huge drop suddenly out of freaking nowhere. I assume it was halted, but otherwise, just gapped down at 8:31 Eastern this morning. Let me just double check the news on this stock. I know that Rich posted about this just a little bit before. 1 second. All right. So this company, phase 1 trial got discontinued due to severe bilirubin events, if I can even pronounce that word right. I don't know what that means. Bilirubin events. Clearly not good, down 66%. Plans to select a new PTH1R agonist candidate for hypoparathyroidism program. They're making me work today. All right, so you know what? This stock will go on our watch list here because for as much down as it is, we're going to eventually see at least the shorts begin to cover. Now, the question is when, though, right? The question is when. Well, I wouldn't just guarantee it right away because this stock is breaking all-time lows. So we're not trying to catch a falling knife here. Just because it's down 66% today doesn't mean it's even going to run today. I hope it does, but it might run tomorrow instead, right? So if it doesn't run today, maybe we will keep it in mind just here and there, just seeing if it can break higher. But we'll start with today and see where it takes us. If we don't get higher highs, we're going to see this continue to dump off. Focus on whole number levels for big icebergs, meaning $4 could be your next big support level, at least on the bid. But there is no historical support looking back on the chart. So that's what makes this a dangerous stock to try and long and buy. Wait to see higher lows first and then the higher high hopefully after. But even above that, just make sure your stop is set. Make sure that your risk is set. You're using the 30-second rule like Fausto teaches in class, and yeah, there's a good chance for it to pop. But if not, just look the other way. RSLS, this was down even more this morning, it seems, and this started to have a small little push, not much, quite frankly, but once the momentum dies off here, it's going to crumble back down. That's where you got to be very careful. So this one, I'm actually going to pass on putting this on our main list just for right now and see what else we got. tell you what, a lot of these stocks here, you can't really short. Dom H, just runner from last week, now making the percent losers list back-to-back days. And we're just about 8 minutes out until the market opens up, folks. So you know what? I want to make sure students like Lynn and Randy, Kathleen, Luis, Lee, Chuck, all of our students inside our live trading room are prepped up, good to go here. So let me just check in with the chat, make sure from all of them we're good to go here. Yeah, Dom H, just that one's done. That one's dead. AIFF from last week. I'll check back in on it. Is it still trying to run? It's not going to get too far, so I'm going to pass on it for right now. Already had our fun on it from last week. Palantir, right? Geez, so going back to Palantir, we talked about it briefly here. I don't think I really brought it up as much, aside from just saying, you know, HIMS doesn't have as much good volume on it on the order book. Palantir still kind of does. And this is breaking higher even more. So, you know what? I could add Palantir. I will. Have you flip an airliner? Oh, yeah. Well, geez, talking about that. Oh, my God. I haven't even brought that up yet. There's so much to discuss, at least with our podcast coming up today and all the stocks from Friday. I didn't even bring up, unfortunately, the unfortunate, sad situation out there from Toronto, right? Just with Delta Airlines and Delta plane kind of crashing. I think they kind of rolled. I don't know the most up-to-date number on that, like how everyone is, if there are any deaths on that, but my heart goes out to anyone just on that plane that was on it, families of course involved. And right now Delta not showing too much on the stock chart there, so I don't think we'll trade Delta as much off that news. Normally if it's going to reflect within the chart, we'll trade it. If not, we'll kind of pass. ACHR, yeah, this one's going on right on our watch list here too. This one was popping pretty much right around 9-10 this morning, just right before we were finishing up here. So yeah, good stock to follow. This is Fausto's pet project. He's been killing it on this stock for a little while now. I actually tried DMing the CEO on X over the weekend, just checking to see if we can get him in for a podcast interview. I don't think he's going to respond back. He's a pretty busy guy. He not only owns this company, Archer, but he's also the CEO behind another AI company, private company called Figure. And either way, looks like the autonomous driving companies, aviation-esque companies, having a good push this morning. We'll check in on Joby, Joby. Not doing as much. Checking on my ONDS, which I got out of from last week. You see that there on the top right. And this thing kind of dropped off a little bit. Happy I got out on this one. But clearly a big difference between Archer and the rest. So ACHR, I'll definitely put that on our list at this point, Chuck. Great call. Also with that, just kind of news related, you saw what happened with China President Xi and Jack Ma. They're kind of there in some event, some presser, and they're shown shaking hands. For anyone that was around back like a few years ago, like 5 years ago, I lose track of time at this point. There was a point in time where Baba CEO Jack Ma, like, we didn't know where he was, where like his whereabouts were unknown for months. And, there were some theories being drawn up about, what happened to Jack Ma. So the fact that there is a like event over the weekend where Jack Ma was shaking hands with the Chinese president, well, it led to a big gap up overnight, specifically for Alibaba. It was up like 5% overnight in the midnight hours, but dragged back down a little bit. You might get a little pop on this going into the day today, but for right now, the trend isn't showing it just yet. More flat and kind of lower high-esque. So I'll keep this on our side list. All right, that's really good to hear, at least from Alicia. No one had passed or at least reported just yet. So I'm gonna just obviously pray for the safety of everyone there. All right, what do we got here, folks? Anything else before we finish up? Facebook Live, YouTube, etc. All that's joining us on social media right now. I got Leda, got Patrick, got Joe, got Brad, Tim. Got a lot of us just joining us there. Stay tuned. Hit the follow or subscribe button just on our social media streams, because coming up at 11:30 Eastern, once more, huge podcast from Tastyworks, Tom Sosnoff, legend of the game. And again, I was trying to make a couple comparisons. It's like basically Magic and Bird, little Lennon and McCartney concert type thing. So coming up at 11:30, huge event lined up. Fausto and Tom, big conversation in our Cyber Trader podcast. Now, otherwise, I think that just about wraps it up at least, right? Going once, going twice, going thrice. I think that just about does it. PLTR forgot to kind of slip on our list there, but we'll add it. All right, folks. Hey, we got about 5 minutes until the market opens up. I go long. So for all of us on YouTube, again, just make sure to hit the follow or subscribe button coming up and just join us today for our podcast. And then otherwise, if you wanted to join us inside our live trading room, you're going to see that QR code popping up on the top right of our stream right there. And make sure to scan that QR with your phone, with your camera. Join us inside our live trading room for a week-long trial. And then otherwise, for all of our students right now, we'll be back on the